Welcome to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, the podcast. I am joined by the talented Liz Hansen, owner of Chicago Boudoir Photography. Liz, in addition to being a skilled photographer, is an expert marketer. You may notice we share a last name. We are related and married. Maybe I should phrase that as we are married. Good to get that out of the way. But let's start with a little bit of an intro to you, Liz. For those of you that don't know who you are, could you give us a 60-second story of how Chicago Boudoir came to life?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me here. It's great to chat. I've been a photographer for a long time, but I got into boudoir about 10 years ago. I did a boudoir photo shoot for myself and made an album and gave it to my husband, and it went over really well. And I started to understand the power and the confidence building experience that a boudoir photo shoot could have for women. So I decided to open my own boudoir photography boutique. That's all I do now is just boudoir. I specialize in boudoir. I don't do weddings. I don't do bar mitzvahs or any of that anymore. And by the way, boudoir, if you haven't heard of it, boudoir is just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. But a boudoir photo shoot is a sensual photo shoot experience that allows women to celebrate their bodies and their journeys and their lives. And as a boudoir photographer, my goal is to help women feel empowered, confident, joyful, and to go home with a memory, with an album to remember the experience either for themselves or to give as a gift.
Well, thank you. One of the distinctive things about your business is that you run a large Facebook community called the VIP Group for Empowered Women of Chicago. So tell us a little bit about that group, what goes on, and how does that relate to a marketing strategy?
Yeah, so I am a boudoir photographer. The primary product that I sell is boudoir photos, boudoir albums. I have women who come into the studio and that's what they want to purchase from me. But more than just that, my business is bigger than that. The mission of my business is bigger than just boudoir. My mission is to help women feel empowered in all areas of their lives. So, one of the things that I do, in addition to taking boudoir photos and selling boudoir photos and boudoir albums, is to facilitate and create and facilitate this online community, the VIP Group for Empowered Women of Chicago. So, I started this Facebook group about 7 years ago. We have about 10,000 local women in the Chicago area who are part of the group. And it is just a fabulous place. I love to hang out there. I love to meet people. We have a daily conversation starter. So it's a place where I can achieve my mission of helping women feel connected and empowered, and then also go on and talk about why boudoir is great, why they might want to book a shoot, and why they might want to become a client of mine. So it fills multiple roles in my business where it allows me to achieve that mission, that broader mission that I have in my business, to not just sell something, but to actually affect people's lives and to make a difference in my community. And then also bring people in the door for boudoir photos.
So a lot of Facebook groups they grow and but they then fizzle at some point. What have you done to keep yours growing and to make yours stick and keep people engaged?
It is so true. I mean, you're probably in some Facebook groups that were fun for a while and then they're not fun anymore, or you wish they would be more active, or you wish Facebook would do things differently. And listen, when you create a VIP Facebook group, you are at the mercy of Facebook and what it shows and its rules and things like that. So, as a boudoir photographer, for example, I have to be really careful with what I post in the Facebook group so that I don't get my hand slapped by Facebook police for being too naughty and naked, right? Um, but the key to, and when I started my Facebook group, I had that same concern that you raised, that like I could put a lot of time and effort into this and then it just wouldn't really go anywhere. And I think that always is a risk when you start a marketing effort, that like you might put a lot of effort into it and not get some ROI. But I was willing to keep at it with this group because I saw early on the potential that this group had. So there's a couple things that we do in this group to make it consistently a fun place fun place to be, a place that women want to join, a place that women want to stay, and a place that women want to connect, right? So a couple of those things are this. Number one, we post something every single day in the group. I never have missed a day in 7 years of doing this. We post content every day, typically more than once a day. It's consistent and people know what to expect. Now, do I wake up every single morning and dream up something to post? No. Fortunately, Facebook has a scheduler, right? So I can get ahead of it. That means I don't have to get out of bed early every morning or dream up something every morning. I do it in batches, right? So that I have a lot of content ready to go. But number one, consistency. So keep posting. I never let the group just go for a few weeks without posting. I don't let it die like that. Number two, I personally stay really involved with the group. I go in the group every single day. I comment, I interact, I see how things are going. I make sure there aren't, uh, discussion questions that are devolving into like a fight. I admit new members. I do all the things that mean that I'm actually part of this group. So when someone comes into my studio and they've been a part of the group, they feel like maybe they kind of know me because I personally am in the group. So I don't just let the group go by itself without having someone look at it. I don't abandon it. I don't, I personally am in there communicating. I'm part of it. So I think those are the two most important things that have really made that group a success for me is consistency and showing up as myself authentically. I'm really me in the group. Like I use my real Facebook profile. I talk about things I really care about. I respond to people's comments in a way that I would want to be responded to. So those two things have made it a successful piece of my marketing strategy.
Well, and you're a very lovable person. I can attest to that. So,
Oh, well, thank
um,
you.
tell us a little bit about the kinds of posts that seem to generate the most engagement in your group. Is it the content of the post, or is it a topic that you find particularly interesting?
So one of the things you do have to learn if you're going to run some marketing efforts on Facebook is what Facebook itself values. So if you post something that you think is really great, but Facebook doesn't think it's really great, it won't show it to a lot of people, right? You're at the mercy of the Facebook algorithm and what the Facebook algorithm is going to push into group members' feeds. So it is very possible for you to be in a group and never see group posts. It is very possible for you to create a group and post a lot and have none of your group members see it, right? So the first thing you need to understand is what Facebook values. Now, I wish I could sit down with Mark Zuckerberg and have them open the book and tell me exactly what it is that they push and they don't push. I don't know. I don't know that anybody knows that. I think that's a closely guarded algorithm secret that Mark Zuckerberg keeps under his pillow, right? But there are a few things that I have figured out over the years that work better than others. The number one thing is if you have a post with a lot of comments, more people are going to see it than if you have no comments, okay? Or just one comment. So when you are creating a post, you need to think about what will generate comments underneath that post. So I can post a beautiful boudoir picture that I took and write, hey, check out this beautiful boudoir photo. Maybe it'll get a few likes. Maybe someone will be like, lovely, right? But in general, that sort of a post doesn't create the kind of response where people think, I should comment on this. Contrast that to this. What if I post one boudoir picture in color and one in black and white together in a collage and I say, which do you like better, the color or the black and white? Now, suddenly, the people who see that post are going to say, oh, I have an opinion. And they're going to write color or black and white in the comment section. Suddenly, now I have a post with 12, 15, 20 comments. People being like, black and white. I like how the color pops. Color, black and white. Black and white's my favorite. I always like black and white, right? And once you have some more comments generated on that post, more people in the group are going to be shown the post and you're going to get more eyeballs on that beautiful photo that I took. So that is the most important thing you need to think about when you're creating posts in a Facebook group is what will generate interaction? What will generate comments? It doesn't matter how beautiful or how engaging your post is. If no one sees it, it's sort of useless. And the best way to get people to see it is to get comments underneath of it.
That's a great point. And I think when you began the answer to that question, you were saying you need to know what Facebook prefers. And so by extension, if you were to start a community on a different platform, say like try to start a YouTube community or maybe a subreddit, those same rules apply. Like it's you have to understand what that particular platform values. Um, and I think if by example, if you were trying to go onto Instagram, you need to create reels, you need to create stories, uh, and 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 that's how you get in high ranking with the algorithm. Um,
Yeah,
so
and each platform's a little bit different, right? So you cannot, I would not recommend just copying and pasting the same thing that you're using on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or the same thing you're using on Instagram, on TikTok, right? Like there is some crossover, like you definitely can create some content and then reuse it in different ways on different platforms. But you need to be aware of how it could best be used on each platform and not just assume that you can post the same thing across all of them.
right, like yeah, an example of that being even though Reels or Stories and TikToks have the same screen orientation, and when you create a TikTok, it actually gives you the option to share it to Instagram. Instagram doesn't like when TikTok does that and posts the TikTok logo on the video. So, best to either re-record or have an independent file that you upload separately. Well, so within Facebook, though, there's Facebook's evolved over time. I think I think you started using it in '07. I might have started using it in '08, something like that, and it's changed over time. And maybe different generations look at other platforms. Would you would you recommend that if somebody were to start a new community that they start with Facebook, or would you recommend they go to a different platform?
That's a really good question, and I think it really depends on what industry you're in, what audience you're trying to reach, and what your goals are. So, for me, for example, I run a boudoir studio that focuses primarily on women, and I'm in the suburbs of Chicago. My target demographic is 30 women age 35 to 50. Guess what? Women age 35 to 50, they're on Facebook. They're still on Facebook, right? They like Facebook. They've been on Facebook for a long time, and I generate a lot of business by spending time on Facebook. Now, if your target audience instead is like, I don't know, 16 to 19-year-old young men, Facebook might not be the place for you. You might have a lot more success on YouTube or TikTok or some other place. So you need to think carefully about who it is exactly you're trying to reach. And if you don't know exactly who you're trying to reach, do a little digging. Talk to people who are buying your product. Find out who they are, where they're hanging out. Now, of course, there are women who come into my studio all the time who are not on Facebook. They're on, and I do try to diversify, so I'm on various places. But about 50% of the women who end up booking me and booking a boudoir photo shoot with me tell me that at one point or another before they came into the studio, they connected with me on Facebook. So that might have been a Facebook ad, the Facebook group, my Facebook business page, something like that. So I know at least 50% of my clientele is coming through Facebook before they come into my studio. So for me, it's a great place to be. And I'm going to keep putting some time and effort there alongside some other diversified efforts. You never want to put all your eggs in one basket. But you need to find out if your people are on Facebook. They may be, they may not be. There are billions of people on Facebook, but are your people on Facebook? That's the important question you need to answer before you start putting a lot of time and effort there.
Now, I'm also interested about this kind of adjacent marketing, or marketing based on like a mission that you described earlier. Can all businesses encompass like a larger theme in a community they build? How is there like a general rule of thumb on different kinds of business? Because this podcast will go to entrepreneurs or business owners of all kinds. It seems to like tie in perfectly. Focusing on empowering women with your boudoir photography. But what about like another, like a home service based business, or somebody that has a product? Do you have any advice for them? Different industries.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. There's a lot of businesses these days who are striving to be mission based, right? You think about like Tom's Shoes, they started, and their goal was to like give away shoes to people who need shoes, right? Or like Bombas Socks gives away socks to people who need socks, as far as I understand it, right? So a lot of businesses are attempting this mission based aspect. I think one of the most important things is to remain authentic. Like, you don't want to just cook up some mission that's not actually your mission, right? So, I'm a boudoir photographer. I take sensual pictures of women in a safe environment, and I really, truly believe that this can be an empowering, beautiful experience for women. I mean, this is really why I do what I do, because I really think it has an effect. It had an effect on me when I did it. I've seen the effect that it has on clients who come into my studio. So my mission isn't just something that I made up as a marketing, gimmick or something. Like, I truly, honestly believe that when women claim their own power, we can change society and the world, and that boudoir can be a way to do that. So I think the first thing, if you are considering either adding or re-emphasizing a mission portion of your business, is to make sure that it is truly authentic and not just like, oh yeah, we help the homeless, like, and that's not actually what you believe in, right? So stay authentic. And then number two, I do think for most businesses, there is a deeper reason why you are doing your business. Yes, you're in business because you want to make money. A business is about making money. You're not running a charity. I get it. But is there some deeper reason why you're choosing this business instead of another one? I could take pictures of babies or dogs or any other thing, but why do I in particular want to take pictures of women? So maybe you're in home services, like you mentioned, Reed. Are you in home services because you truly want people in your community to have a safer home or more beautiful home? Are you really in the business of helping families feel like their home is their sanctuary? Like, why is it that you are in home services and not in some other business? I think if you can start answering those kinds of questions, you can dig a little deeper to understand what your mission combined with your business might be.
That's a really good insight, and I think everybody should consider, this does like zoom out a little bit on your business, and maybe if you take a moment and think about your answer to that question, that will help you with your branding. It'll help you to decide who your community is. I think that's something everybody should think through.
And you always have to remember too, people often aren't buying your product because of the product, but because it's how it's going to make them feel, right? So, if you're selling home security systems, you're selling them peace of mind and security. You're not just selling the wires and the buttons, right? You're selling them the peace of mind that they will feel when they have this home security system installed in their house. If you're a pest control provider, you're not just killing pests, you're also helping the homeowner feel peaceful in their home when they know they're not going to see a cockroach in the kitchen the next day, right? So there is almost always, even in the most mundane of products, there is almost always a bigger reason why someone is buying it besides just the product itself. It's the feeling they want to have when they purchase your product. And I think that can lead you to a mission. Another thing too, like you said, I think almost every business could come up with an adjacent business. I know photographers, for example, if you're taking senior pictures, like high school year senior pictures, maybe you could create a community around parents who are, what are parents doing senior year of high school, right? They're preparing to help their child launch and apply to college and find their first job. Could you create a group around that, like a parent support group for your community as their kids launch out of the nest? If you were a wedding photographer, could you create a group where, let's say I was a bride last month and I still have 36 candle holders left over for my tables. Could you create a resale group where bride to bride in your community, they could reuse decor, right? If you're a pet photographer, could you take on the mission of finding homes for foster dogs and puppies, or, donating to the shelter, right? So like, it's very easy to quickly take whatever service it is you offer and expand it to a mission if you just think a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Well said. And actually, as you were talking, I was thinking about, my audience and, how I would create a community. So you've given me something to think about. Now let's pivot a little bit and let's talk about another aspect of marketing, the technology. And, you can't talk about marketing technology without talking about AI. So, as a studio owner, uh, how do you see AI affecting your business, going forward in the like in 2025 and 2026 and beyond?
So AI it's hit us quickly here, right? Like, I mean, a couple years ago, I didn't use any AI tools that I knew of. I mean, maybe somewhere embedded somewhere, whatever. And then all of a sudden, ChatGPT, Gemini, it has just come on so suddenly. Sometimes I wonder if it's like I'm like the lady in the log cabin. Suddenly, our town is getting electrified, and I'm like, oh, technology, But I really think AI, it is new, it is powerful, and it is here to stay. So this is not something that's going away, and it is going to affect, in my opinion, every aspect of our lives in the same way that when the internet showed up, that has affected every aspect of our lives going forward. So as a boudoir photography owner, I mean, it's going to affect every aspect of my business as well. So, I mean, when it first came out, when I first saw like image generation on Midjourney and ChatGPT, my first thought is no one's going to want a boudoir picture. They're just going to want an AI generated version of themselves looking beautiful. And hey, some people might want that. And I've used ChatGPT to make little avatars of myself and turn myself into a comic book hero and stuff. And that's fun. And I don't think that's going away. And I think that's still going to happen. In terms of what I offer, though, I offer more than just a photo. I offer a whole experience where someone comes to the studio, they get their hair and makeup done, they spend half a day there at the studio with me and my staff. It's really, truly an experience. And I think as AI becomes more popular and more pervasive, we as a society, people, Americans, we're going to be seeking out more and more real experiences like that. We're going to want to go do things where we can experience stuff, where we're going to want to get off our phones and our computers and pay for something that we can actually feel and experience. So I do think, at least for a little while, boudoir photography is going to have some staying power. However, there's definitely AI happening on the back end. So there are already AI retouching tools that can take acne off your skin instead of having to do it by hand on Photoshop. There are AI marketing tools to write marketing emails and to create landing pages and to create graphics and all those kinds of things. There is going to be AI assistants to help with booking and calendars and all that kind of stuff. So I hope for me and my business will continue to be a really valuable tool to create more efficiency and a better experience for my clients, but will never replace the human touch and the creativity that I offer one-on-one when women come into my studio.
That's a good point. And I have observed that, so I do marketing campaigns, and I've observed that when I've experimented around, generating AI and fully automating a campaign, those don't work. You do have to have a human touch, something custom, something maybe a little less polished as a part of it. Like an actual phone call as a part of it, or else it rings hollow. People can dismiss it as easily as you can automate it. Now,
And I
let me
think
ask.
as time goes on, people's radar is going to get better, and they're going to say, "I know this is AI," but also AI is going to get better too.
Yeah.
So I think, it's interesting as in particular as a photographer, I think when digital photography showed up on the scene and started to disrupt the film industry, everyone was like, photography is dead, right? And only true photos are the only true photos out there are ones that were taken on film. And digital photography did disrupt film and it did change photography, but it didn't ruin it. It changed into something else, right? And I think AI is going to be similar, right? People are saying, hey, AI is showing up on the scene here, it's going to ruin photography. It's not going to ruin photography, but it's going to change it, right? It is going to change our relationship to a digital image. We're going to question if it's real or not. We're going to question how it was created, how it was manipulated, who was the creator, who's the subject, those kinds of things. But I think digital imagery, digital creation, photography is, of course, here to stay. AI is just going to affect it, and we need to use it and be ready for it and not be scared of it.
You think there's anything in a business process or marketing process that should never be automated with AI?
I mean, I don't want to see a robot doctor. I want to see a human. I don't want to get maybe a massage from a robot. Um, but interestingly, if a robot could like do my nails really perfect and never mess up, like I don't know, I'm open to it. Um, we will see. I'd be open to eating a meal prepared by a robot chef. I think a lot of our food is grown by robots and machines we don't realize.
Mhm.
I think houses are going to start being built more, with some kind of automation, some kind of 3D printed house. Like I'd be open to living in a 3D printed house. Um, I think we need smart, thoughtful people at the helm to think about the implications of what we're doing and keep a finger on the pulse of AI. We don't need the robot uprising, right? We need to be careful about robot drones with bullets. We need to be careful about those things, but I am open to a lot of automation and AI things that I think could make our world safer, better, and more fun.
And the correct answer to that question was community building. Just kidding.
Oh yeah, yeah, also.
I'm kidding. No,
Yes.
because and but I was I'm sorry, I'm just teasing you. But the community building, it really
Yeah.
does have to have a human touch. Like it,
Yeah.
and you've done so much video in your VIP group, and you've done so much, like you said, manual commenting, and uh, people sense that this is real, and they engage because it's real, and there's like a real person behind it. And not only that, there is a person, not a company behind it, and so they feel connected to you more so than the business. And
Yeah, and I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours over the years in that group, building connections, making comments, and that kind of thing. And the one-on-one way in which I have managed to reach through the screen to people in that group has really paid off. I run into people in my community who are in my VIP Facebook group all the time. They recognize my face and they want to come talk to me. This happened the first time. I was like, wait, what? You know who I am? And they're like, I've seen you in the group. I know who you are. Can I talk to you? My name's Michelle. You know who I am. They felt like we had this human connection, even though we'd never met in person. And over the years, this has happened to me dozens of times. We were in line at the United Center. A girl ran out of line to come say hi to us. United Center is a big basketball arena here in Chicago. She wanted to say hi. I was at the doctor, not a robot doctor, a human doctor recently, and the nurse who checked me in was like, by the way, I know you from the VIP Facebook group. I'm probably not supposed to say this. And I was like, oh, like the nurse. And my gym, a girl on the stair stepper next to me, she was like, I just have to ask, you kind of look like this girl named Liz that I've seen on Facebook. I mean, I truly believe that the hours that I've put in making that group personalized, showing up, being me, being real, being a human has paid off in people feeling like they know me. And if you know anything about running a small business, you know that some of the first steps you need to make to run a small business is people need to know you, like you, and trust you. Now, you don't have to get everyone in the world to know you, like you, and trust you, but you have to get people who want to hire you to know you, like you, and trust you. People who hire service providers like myself, I consider myself a service provider, even though I also sell products. They hire me because they know me, like me, and trust me. And a lot of that know, like, trust factor has come through that VIP group. There are hundreds of boudoir photographers in my area, and I'm sure they're getting business too, but the reason people pick me for many reasons for their photo shoot over some other provider is because they felt like they knew me, liked me, and trust me, especially for boudoir, right? If you're going to do something that's so intimate, so exposing as taking some sensual pictures at a boudoir photo studio, you want to go a place where you feel safe, where you feel like you can trust the person. And that has come not from me just saying over and over, book a boudoir shoot, book a boudoir shoot, book a boudoir shoot, but by me showing up as my authentic self, real me, real Liz in the group, talking about daily things, showing that I care, offering things to my community. So I do a lot of free stuff. I promote other businesses so that I show that my empathy and how I really care about my mission. And it's really paid off for me.
Well, those are some great closing thoughts. And I think to sum it up, authenticity can't be replaced by AI. There are some things that AI can do really well, but genuine engagement just is not one of them. And I love the explanation of trust and this group you've been able to put together. I think. I mean, you have shown me comments in the past where people say that this group means a lot to them, that they appreciate the support. They've shared some, tough times in their life, and they've gotten a lot of comments of support, and that's got to make you feel good. So, great way to do more with your business than just make money, and so that is tremendous. So, Liz, I really appreciate you getting on the podcast. I will see you around, I guess.
Yeah, maybe since we live in the same house.
But you are a tremendous marketer, and have done such a good job with your business and in helping others. So, thanks for joining the podcast
Yeah.
today.
Can I say before you close, I do
Please.
think that is a really important part about being a small business owner is to find that deeper reason, not just for your audience, but also for yourself, right? Because running a small business is hard and it requires showing up daily and it requires a lot of work. And if you have that deeper mission, that deeper connection with your community, and that you know that there's people who are making a difference in your life, it's going to be easier to show up and keep serving that community than if you're just for a paycheck, right? Anyone can go get a job and get a paycheck, right? But not everyone can make a difference. And so if you can find and build a community where you know you can make a difference, not only will your business thrive, but I think you as an entrepreneur, you as a business owner will feel more fulfilled and happy with the work that you were doing.
Well, that is an inspiring thought for the rest of today. Um, well, great, Liz. I'm sure we'll have you back on. Yeah, really appreciate the thoughts. Thanks for all the great information and experience you shared.
Thanks for having me.